So today, or a while back, I stepped on my wife's sewing machine, and what it has is a kind of I would say flimsy. I mean, obviously they're not meant to be stood on. So I'm going to take apart the bottom, and I'm going to take some 5-minute epoxy, and I'm going to see if I can't glue this little thing back together where the power cord plugs in. To get into the inside of this machine, you basically just have to take off all of the silver screws, and the bottom will come off. So we're going to do this one-handed. I just gotta find where that power cord went to. There it is. So you can see here's the other side of the box and the electrical connectors there. I'll probably mix up the sauce, put it on there, and then put the tip in there and actually let it dry that way, and then put it back through the machine and tighten it back down. And my wife was saying we should just put some epoxy on there and make it a permanent deal, because it's a pain in the butt to to deal with. I'll put a link into the description as to what type of machine this is. It's a Singer Stylist, and she's been using it for a few years, and it's always done its job. I think some of the digital stuff is going away, but at any rate, it still works, or at least it did until I stepped on the cord. So I'm going to put the camera down, glue this up, and get back to you when it's time to put it back together. Okay, so I just wanted to try and get a better shot of what's going on with this little broken piece here. I'm using dollar store epoxy, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to barely dip this in the 5-minute epoxy so it gets just enough on there to hopefully, just get the surface wet. And then when that dries, I'll mix up another batch, and with a toothpick I'll try and fill in any gaps or anything like that. So here we go. So I don't know if you've ever used this stuff before, but it's all about the same. You just bust the tip off, and it's a 2-part chemical reaction. Oh, it's got a little safety thing up here. Which is also the cap. That's way more than I need, but I just wanted to make sure that at least some of both parts of the compound got in there. You only got a few minutes of working time. I mean, if it sets in 5 minutes, this stuff's going to start getting hard pretty quick, I would imagine. Okay, just going to try and just barely get this wet. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then try to remember which way went in there. Okay, I can see that that kind of squished out on one side. I don't know if that'll be enough to hold it though. Like it should have a little piece of tape over it or something to hold it. I think I'm going to try and get a little piece of tape on there. So I used a toothpick and I picked up some material and just put it around. I may have botched my chances of getting it back through the hole, but I figure I can try and pick or file some of this away as it gets harder. So I don't know why, but we couldn't find any tape, so I am going to try and hold this for 5 minutes. Here we go. Okay, so what I did is I plugged the cord into the receptacle to make sure that everything was kind of lined up and straight. I'm actually going to let it dry that way. It's already, I mean, fairly dry. That, I mean, they're not kidding. 2 minutes and that stuff is hard. Let's see if I can't show you. Like you see me picking at it, like it's still kind of soft. But I mean, it's holding the piece on there now. And I think I'll let it dry like that for probably 24 hours. Then I'll take the cord back out and put it back through the hole. But you can see it works fine now. So no way I could leave it like that. It would have just bugged me. So I went through the trouble, a little piece of some needle nose, and I put it back through the hole. My only worry is that the little black piece we just glued on there is the structural part. So I think what I want to do is I want to take some more epoxy, and I'm just going to epoxy it around the backside so that it's not all just hinging on that little piece that's glued in there. And then I think I'm also going to take just a bit and put it around the ring. Now this is going to screw me if it ever comes that I need to take this thing back out, but keep in mind that this machine wasn't working at all, and now it is. So it may not be the right way to fix it, but it is fixed, and you know, Maggie will be back sewing here soon. So yeah, so that's that. I'll probably give you one more shot of it all back together and working. See, I got some glue, epoxy, kind of around that piece. And then I put some around the front part of it, and hopefully that stiffens it all up to a point where it won't do that again. Okay, Maggie said just go for broke, and I just glued it all up. I just don't ever want it coming back apart, and she thinks it's kind of ridiculous that it comes out anyway, so I glued it up real good and put the back. I made sure that this was working each step of the way, by the way. You know, make a move, test it, make a move, test it. Something I learned from changing spark plug wires. You know, it's really easy to isolate the problem if you're just doing one step at a time and testing it. So I'll put this back together, test it one more time, and should be good to go. And it's done. This stuff gets really hard. I'm still gonna let it dry overnight, but yeah, you can see it's on and working. All done. Not the prettiest fix, but it seems like it'll be stronger than it was, I think, especially if I don't kick it. Thanks for watching.